On this week's episode of Bayou Wild TV,
we're here at Toledo Bend, the legendary Toledo Bend, with the guys from Bent Rod Guide Service, and today we are bass fishing.
I actually grew up fishing with my dad. I fell in love with it, and then in college I spent a lot of time up here at Toledo Bend. We'd make an annual trip up here when I was a kid, but then in college I came up here every chance I had. I really started to learn the lake.
Bring that thing over that way a little bit. There's a bunch of them out. Hey, give you an Alabama or anything.
Yeah, that's a little more what we're looking for there. Pretty large mouth.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Global Outdoors. Find your next adventure and share your experiences with others by downloading the Global Outdoors mobile app or visiting globaloutdoors.com. Every day, we strive to preserve traditions that have spanned generations.
Around every turn of the bayou, Mother Nature reveals unique people, places, and experiences.
and the bounty of animals and fish. Well, in Louisiana, we just call that lagniappe. I'm Don Dubuque.
I'm Chris LeCoq.
I'm Captain Martha Spencer. Join us as we document the adventure,
Sportsmanship,
and heritage that make us Bayou Wild. Welcome to one of the nation's premier fishing destinations, Toledo Bend. Constructed in the 1960s, the Bend, as it's commonly known, spans 180,000 acres and stretches 65 miles from its northernmost point to its southern drain into the Sabine River, and is one of the largest man-made reservoirs in the United States. And the lake isn't the only thing here that's big.
You got an opportunity to go and catch a 10-pounder any day, any cast out here. There's probably more here than just about any lake in the country.
Named the top bass fishing lake in the country twice by Bassmaster magazine, Toledo Bend's a prime location to catch a lunker bass.
Boom, shakalaka, giant bass!
It's easy to see why anglers of all ages visit Toledo Bend for a chance to catch their personal best. Today, we're teaming up with Bent Rod's Guide Service to learn more about this incredible fishery and get a crash course on fishing techniques that work best when bassing on the Bend.
I've been out here guiding since 2015, so almost 10 years now, 9 years. We started Bent Rods in 2019, and so we're going on 5-6 years with Bent Rod's Guide Service. We offer crappie and bass fishing trips. We've got multiple guides. We can handle large groups because we have 7 pontoon boats for crappie trips, and then we've got 4 bass boats to run bass trips out of. So just a beautiful place. It is home to us. You know, we love it out here.
Coming up next,
We're here at Toledo Bend, the legendary Toledo Bend, with the guys from Bent Rod Guide Service. And today we are crappie fishing, sac-a-lait, and bass fishing.
this is Don Dubuque asking you to join me as a member of the Coastal Conservation Association. For 30 years, CCA has worked in Louisiana to conserve our incredible fisheries, making sure that our fishing is great today and for generations to come. Whether looking out for redfish and specks, eliminating gill nets, building reefs across the coast, or work at the state capitol and in D.C., CCA is doing what's best for the fish and the sport we love so much. Your $30 membership will ensure that this work and our great fishing endures well into the future. Go to ccalouisiana.com and join CCA today.
Delta Marina is Plaquemines Parish fishing one-stop. Get live bait, fuel, ice, tackle, and marine supplies. Then launch into the world's most productive saltwater fishing. Return to the fishing cleaning station, relax in first-class cabins overlooking the bayou, all in Delta Marina's safety video-monitored parking lot. Need a fishing charter guide? Delta Marina can hook you up. Cook your catch in your kitchenette or dine in the upstairs restaurant. Visit Delta Marina for a day or a week. Stop in just off Highway 11 down Rosemarie Drive in Empire. Visit thedeltamarina.com.
One of the reasons why Double D has been around for 50 years is because we are consistent with what built the business. And we go to great lengths to make sure that when you bring a deer or a hog or whatever it may be, your meat stays your meat all the way through the process. But we want to be as true to the original intent, which is a local meat company. And that's something that we want to maintain for as long as the Lord lets us do it.
Become a supporter of the Louisiana Wildlife Agents Association today by visiting supportlwaa.org. Browse the selection of exclusive gear, including t-shirts in a variety of colors and styles, plus hats, koozies, and more. Gear up today and support the LWAA. Continuing this week's episode, it's a chilly morning on Toledo Bend, and we've got bass on the brain.
Hey guys, we're here at Toledo Bend with Captain Josh. We're gonna go out and target some bass, moving into some deep creeks with the cold front coming in, but let's see what we can pull up.
We've teamed up with Bent Rod's Guide Service and Captain Josh Sykes, a wealth of knowledge for learning the best practices for success when fishing this massive body of water.
I actually grew up fishing with my dad, fishing a complex there in central Louisiana, Saline Larto Complex. I fell in love with it, and then in college I spent a lot of time up here at Toledo Bend. We'd make an annual trip up here when I was a kid. But then in college, I came up here every chance I had. I really started to learn the lake. There's one right there, that white dot.
Your big thread fin are in those big, large balls. So you'll find those big schools of bass, and sometimes there'll be 30, 40, 50 of them busting through those balls of shad, feeding really, really heavy, you know, leading up to the winter when their tatlets close down and stop eating. So that's what we're looking for. Looking to see if we can't find some big balls of shad with some bass busting through.
Fished some tournaments around here on Toledo and Rayburn, had some success for a couple of years, and so just had some friends want me to take them out, just kind of show them what I was doing to catch these tournament quality fish. And so I took some friends out, and then they told their friends, and they told their friends, and next thing I knew was about every week somebody was calling me to take them fishing. So in 2015, I kind of made that call. I was like, you know, I'm really going to invest in doing this and guiding, and been doing it ever since, man, and I don't regret it for a minute. I've met a lot of good people, a lot of lifelong friends through sharing a boat with them for a day. And so it's been a lot of fun, something that I hope to do for the rest of my life.
Does that look like a school of fish to you? It does to them. Toledo Bend has got some unique features. It's a deep lake, so the techniques here are very different than the techniques for bass fishing in the swamp and in the spillway areas of South Louisiana.
For sure today, the plan was to go check some deep drains and some deep creeks, looking for where the shad were. And then once you find the shad, typically the bass are going to be pretty close.
Our first Toledo Bend bass on an Alabama rig. Okay. Yep.
Solid fish, man.
Nice chunky, yeah.
Yeah, here you go. It's thick, feeding on shad.
Nice solid Toledo Bend bass. Look at that guy. Chasing that shad.
A lot more of them out there than that.
We went out early targeting bass. We did some spotted bass out in the lake.
So the Alabama rig, I'll start picking it up when the water temps get down into the 70s, which typically around here is going to be about October. And then once the water temps reaches back to the 80s in May, they shut off of it. So October to May, I throw it. But it's summertime, for some reason, they just won't bite it.
Spotted bass. That's the best eating fish there is right there, too.
All you're gonna do with that spoon is just basically drop it straight down, let it hit the bottom, and just kind of lift it and let it fall.
We checked some drains this morning. We just saw a couple scattered fish, but nothing really balled up too tight. So we made a long run down the lake to the south end and got in the creek. And I mean, every time we went over the creek channel, we saw just big balls of shad. And sure enough, on the edges of the creek, that's where we caught all of our bass today.
And then we hit some creeks and some runouts in the reservoir looking for some bigger largemouth bass. But early on, fishing deep and slow and low for the bass today.
Bring that thing over that way a little bit. There's a bunch of them out there. They give you an Alabama rig.
Yeah, that's a little more what we're looking for there. Pretty large mouth.
These guys are really dialed in. They understand the estuary, and they understand, you know, the seasonality. We fished pretty deep in 25, 30 feet of water, letting the Alabama rigs really sink down deep and reeling them very slowly, keeping them maybe a foot or two off the bottom, and really trying to get them in front of the fish that we were spotting on the live scope.
Good fish.
Twice.
Pretty cool watching them come up off the bottom there.
Yes.
A lot of days, man, when they're super aggressive, a bigger swim bait obviously is going to catch your bigger fish, your better quality. And so I typically like to start off with a bigger swim bait on my Alabama rigs to try to catch quality bites. But man, they were just following. They were a little more lethargic after that cold front moving in. And so we downsized just a skinnier swim bait. We went to it's a Gary Yamamoto swim Cinco, a 3.5-inch swim Cinco is what we caught them on. And they started biting that pretty good. And I mean, it was immediate. Once we made that switch, we went from getting followers to a fish that would commit and actually bite and eat it.
Got you once behind the gill. Yeah, we've been bouncing around. We've gotten a little bit deeper water, and sun's come up. I noticed the moon's come up, and Captain caught like three in a row on some different techniques. So now we're starting to get in the bite. They're getting active, and the bite's kind of kicking up now. So better fish. Tell us a little bit about your specialty and what you're known for here in Toledo Bend.
Yeah, so I do a lot of electronic stuff out here, teaching people to find fish using their side imaging, down imaging, 2D sonar, and now live scope. do a lot of training in customers' boats, setting up their electronics, and just teach them to, use what they have to find and catch more fish.
I jokingly said, do you need to take a class? Have to figure out how to use a live scope, because I'm looking at all your screens and you've really done a good job of finding a niche to help guys like me who don't understand how to use the equipment.
Just on this boat, I've got about $12,000 worth of electronics on it, and that's not rare. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of bass fishermen have that much money invested in their units, and a lot of them, all they know how to do is turn it on and tell the water depth and the water tilt. And these things are capable of so much more, and so it's a useful tool, man. And I mean, technology is constantly changing and upgrading, and it's amazing what we can see now.
It's fascinating that you have found that niche and that you actually do seminars. You go talk to high school teams, you go talk to fishing clubs, and teach them about the electronics and the technology that's part of the fishing industry today.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. I really enjoy it, and it's just kind of my passion.
Coming up next, we step in the kitchen with our friend Nathan Judice as he shares a simple recipe fit for any species of white flaky fish.
All right, next we're gonna top our fish with some Parmesan cheese. And I know people say that, you shouldn't do cheese and seafood, but I disagree.
I disagree too.
This is Don Dubuque asking you to join me as a member of the Coastal Conservation Association. For 30 years, CCA has worked in Louisiana to conserve our incredible fisheries, making sure that our fishing is great today and for generations to come. Whether looking out for redfish and specks, eliminating gill nets, building reefs across the coast, or work at the state capitol and in D.C., CCA is doing what's best for the fish and the sport we love so much. Your $30 membership will ensure that this work and our great fishing endures well into the future. Go to ccalouisiana.com and join CCA today.
In Louisiana, food brings everyone together. These are the flavors that make friends out of total strangers. The flavors that remind you of home. It's the meals you crave, that take time, that show love. Because in Louisiana, we cook. And we know that when we come together to cook and eat, life gets better. So pull up a chair, leave room for seconds, and pass a good time. Because life needs Louisiana flavor, baby.
You're watching Bayou Wild TV, award-winning outdoor programming. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or visit the website BayouWildTV.com to watch past episodes.
Hi, I'm Olivia Grace George, Miss Louisiana 2024. Did you know that Louisiana is one of the world's leading producers of propane gas? Of course, it's used for cooking, cleaning clothes, and heating homes, but it's always been used on farms and businesses across our state, as well as school buses and light-duty trucks. As America looks to cleaner, greener alternative fuels for our future, Louisiana's propane dealers stand ready to meet the need. For more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Welcome back to Bayou Wild TV. We're here with our friend Nathan Judice, and we're using one of the Louisiana staple fish for this recipe. What are we making today?
All right, so we're going to be making a speckled trout, a blackened speckled trout with Parmesan and a lemon beurre blanc sauce to go on top.
And this is also a recipe you could use with any whitefish, right?
Yes, any whitefish. I like to use catfish as well. We're going to first start with a little bit of blackening seasoning. And we're gonna have a nice, delicate sauce on it, so we're not trying to overspice these too much. And then, Martha, why don't you just dredge them lightly in flour? That'll give them a crust. You just need to do one side.
Why are we only flouring one side?
because we're going to put the cheese on the top, and I don't want the taste of the flour to kind of, you know, get rid of it. The fish is thin, it cooks really fast, so, you know, it won't take a long time. All right, next we're gonna top our fish with some Parmesan cheese. And I know people say that, you know, you shouldn't do cheese and seafood, but
Lies.
I disagree.
I disagree too.
Yep, normally what I would do is I would get one side cooked about halfway through, top it with Parmesan cheese, and then put it in the broiler, in the oven under the broiler for a couple minutes just to get that Parmesan cheese a little crispy. So while this cooks, we're gonna make our sauce. All right, so we have about a tablespoon of butter, and we're gonna sweat off some shallots.
Sweat off?
Sweat them. We're gonna let them get a little translucent, and then we're going to add about 1/4 cup of dry white wine. And we're gonna do about half of a lemon worth of zest. And we're gonna do 2 full lemons of lemon juice. And then next we're going to put our heat on low for our sauce. Wrong burner. And we're gonna start adding our butter slowly.
To the fish?
To the sauce.
Okay.
Add about 4 clumps at a time. And what we're doing is we're emulsifying. You don't wanna cool it off or heat it up too quick, otherwise your sauce will break into your liquids and your butter, well, your oil. Next, we're gonna add our seasoning. We're just gonna put a little bit of salt and a little bit of black pepper. I think I said this earlier, this sauce is pretty delicate, so you don't wanna overpower it too much. You want that lemon to bust through and pair well with the fish and the cheese.
Don't be confused, just because it's a light meal doesn't mean it's a light on your figure. So.
That is true. So we're gonna go ahead and plate our fish. You can see that Parmesan cheese that was on the pan actually got a little crispy.
I like that.
For beurre blanc sauce, for it to be, I guess, a classic beurre blanc sauce, you typically strain out the onions.
So you're just getting the flavor.
So you're just getting the flavor of it. And in addition to this fish, we also made some pecan rice that we're going to serve with it. It has some sweet potatoes, some local Louisiana sweet potatoes, some pecans, some cranberries, and some brown butter.
Yeah. All right, we've got our finished product. So easy Martha could do it. It's diet, of course, no calories and no starches, and it looks delicious. And you can do this with anything in your freezer pretty much with a white flaky fish. Tell me where you got the inspiration for this.
So going into the Mississippi Delta, sometimes I go there for work. They have this dish that's called blackened catfish parmesan. So that's kind of a play on this, and I like the acidity from the lemon beurre blanc sauce added to it to cut through some of the Parmesan cheese.
Awesome, looks delicious. Thank you, Nathan.
You're welcome.
Let's dive in.
We love our children. We protect them. We guide them. We prepare them for life in the world. With all that we do, from deep in our hearts, we cannot control all things. Life-threatening illnesses and disabilities affect far too many of our children each year. While we cannot change the circumstance, we can make dreams come true. Dreams to provide hope, to provide spiritual healing and strength, to provide moments of happiness and relief in the hardest of times. We can give a glimmer of light and hope in a time of darkness and despair. Join huntofalifetime.org to help make dreams come true, to provide hope for children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Hunt of a Lifetime is a nonprofit organization fulfilling dreams for hunting and fishing trips to youth 21 and under with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Visit huntofalifetime.org to learn how you can make a difference.
If you're lucky enough to bag a deer or a hog this season, bring it here to Double D. Double D processes hogs and exotic game and guarantees your product is always the meat you brought to Double D.
Double D Meats in Bogalusa, home of country smoked, spicy jalapeno cheddar, and other customized flavors.
Bring your deer or your hog here to Double D, where you always get your meat back in return. It's worth a drive to Bogalusa from anywhere. Double D.
Welcome to White Oak Estate and Gardens, home of my distillery on Jones Creek. In the grist mill, corn is ground, then poured into the copper stills, filled with water and yeast added. Days later, still water bourbon is placed into charred oak barrels where it ages. Likewise, raw brown sugar and water blend to create our still water rum. Purchase these boutique vintages beginning December the 1st, exclusively at White Oak.
Become a supporter of the Louisiana Wildlife Agents Association today by visiting supportlwaa.org. Browse the selection of exclusive gear, including t-shirts in a variety of colors and styles, plus hats, koozies, and more. Gear up today and support the LWAA. Toledo Bend Lake Country is an outdoor destination where fishing and family fun reign supreme. Here at Wildwood Resort near Zwolle, we enjoy the tranquility of this area of Louisiana, a warm welcome and a cozy place to relax in one of the many cabins overlooking the lake. It's these types of trips that remind us of the uniqueness in every outdoor adventure that Louisiana has to offer.
So we really had a great time. Toledo Bend lived up to the billing, caught some great bass. We will certainly want to come back and spend some more time with these guys and enjoy everything Toledo Bend has to offer. We love it, my family loves it. We've fallen in love with this place, and we'll be coming back for future trips for friends and recreation.
With so much more to experience here and plenty more fish to be caught, there's no doubt we'll be back.
You know, personally, I was really looking forward to getting the opportunity to get my personal best bass, and coming back to a place like this with these guys will give an opportunity to do that. So we look forward to coming back and catching the big lunker that got away today.
There he goes.
He's free. Look at that guy.
Because it's more than just coming and catching fish for a day, but my goal is that you'll be able to go and catch fish on your own, really for the rest of your life, is to use what you learn on the day with me, to go and catch fish every single day.
In search of that lunker, and a little more wild at the bend of the adventure, sportsmanship, and heritage of Bayou Wild.